To access the site projections from the Footballguys.com homepage, click on the link for the current week's in-season page, scroll down to Player Forecast, and click on the position you want to see projections for. I'll look at David Dodds' running back projections. From here, the great part about the projections for DFS is that you can adjust them to either Fanduel or DraftKings scoring formats by simply choosing your scoring system from the drop-down and clicking View Cheat Sheet. So now we're looking at a list of running backs sorted from high to low by projected fantasy points. What I like to do from here is look at the list in relation to their salaries on the DFS site I'm playing on. Most people choose to do this by looking at projected points per dollar, which is a value metric you can find on our interactive value charts, which were covered in a previous video. If you've been reading my columns this year, you've seen me write "Opportunity rules the day" in DFS on several occasions, which is why I prefer to look at projected dollars per touch rather than traditional points per dollar. Sure, there's some overlap between the two metrics, but by looking at projected touches relative to salary, it becomes easier to spot inexpensive players in line for significant workloads, and therefore the most opportunity to exceed their salary expectation. To calculate dollars per touch, I'm going to highlight and copy the positional cheat sheet and paste it into Microsoft Excel. On another tab, I have pasted the player salaries from Fanduel. To download a spreadsheet of the current week's pricing on Fanduel, enter any contest and click Download Players List. On DraftKings, enter any contest and click Export to CSV. So now I want to get the salaries onto the same sheet as my projections. First, I'll label my column for salary here. Then I'm going to use an Excel function called a VLOOKUP, or value lookup. The salaries I want to appear on my projection sheet are located on the sheet I named Salary. The players' names begin in cell B2 and the salaries start in cell E2. So I'll go back to my projection sheet and type in equals VLOOKUP, followed by parentheses, and then you can see how Excel wants me to format the formula. First, I have to choose the lookup value, which is the player's name. We know that was found on the salary sheet in cell B2, so I'll type in B2. Then the name of the table, which is salary, followed by an exclamation point. Then Excel wants the table range, which in our case is columns B to E. Next, it wants the column index number, which is the number of the column on the sheet that has our data, in our case 4. And then the last thing is the range lookup, which defines how close a match should exist between your lookup value and the value here in our name column. We want an exact match, so I'll put 0. Now I'll just drag that formula into the remaining cells, and I've got my salaries on the same sheet as my projections. If you see any that didn't copy in, there's likely a discrepancy between how Footballguys and Fanduel spell the player's name, so you may have to touch up a few names. Next, I want to label a column for total touches, and in the first cell, type in equals E2 for rushes, plus H2 for receptions, and then I'll drag that formula down to the rest of the cells to give me touches. Finally, to figure out dollars per touch, I'm going to label my column, then type equals L2 for salary, /, which is the symbol for divide by, then M2 for touches. Touch Enter, trim off a few decimal places, and I've got my value and can copy the formula into the rest of the column. What we're looking for is running backs who cost the fewest dollars per touch, so I'll select the column and sort from smallest to largest. Now I can see Darren Sproles at just 5,100 is the best projected dollars per touch value at running back on this week's slate.